Namaste, angels. This is the daily reading for Tuesday, the 13th. And Tuesday the 13th is actually my partner, I guess, on the Divine Oneness group page. One of the moderators, Carr, you may have seen him post in there. It is his birthday. So happy birthday to Carr on this day. Just the reading the day prior, when we heard all that noise, and I said I thought it was my jewelry committing suicide. It was indeed. There was a ring down there, like several of my bracelets. I don't know why they felt at that moment to jump out of the dish. They must have been trying to tell me something, but I didn't catch it. So that was that. But I did want to tell you guys that when I went over there, sure enough, I had a whole pile of jewelry on the floor. So bizarre. But then again, not really, not in my house. So let's get into this year. 1789 is the year we're going to begin with, and this day rather. We're going to begin with 1789 on this day. Ben Franklin writes, quote, "Nothing. They have nothing ... certain but death and taxes." I don't know why they left out the word "is," because I was about to not. All right, let me do it my way. In the year 1789, Ben Franklin writes, "Nothing is certain but death and taxes." See how simple that was? That's not the way they wrote it. 1933, the first modern sit-down strike by Hormel Meat Packers in Austin, Minnesota. So the first strike from work happened on this day in the year 1933. 1956, U.S. Supreme Court rules race separation on buses in Alabama is unconstitutional. So that was 1956. Obviously, the civil rights laws weren't passed until 1965. So for another 9 years, something went on with the buses, even after they ruled it unconstitutional. That's the same way that the Voting Rights Act worked too. Like, black people had the right to vote before 1965. It's just that white people wouldn't let us actually exercise it, or not all, but racist ones wouldn't allow it to be exercised. They were, doing all kinds of things to stop, similar to what happens now, to stop the black vote. So in 1965, an act had to be passed, to sort of supplement the Constitution. But it was already a law, just like this. All right, anyway, 1980, U.S. spacecraft Voyager the 1st sends back its first close-up pictures of Saturn. So we got to see the rings and stuff. First time in 1980. 1985, Nevado del Ruiz volcano erupts in Colombia, killing 25,000 people in the town of Armero. Did you know the first shipment of canned pineapple from Hawaii shows up on this day, November 13th in the year 1895? Famous birthdays: Edward III, John Dickinson, Edwin Booth, Robert Louis Stevenson, Buck O'Neill, and Whoopi Goldberg. Would you believe the world's earliest winemaking is uncovered from Kramis Didi Gora, Georgia, in clay pots? I think they mean Georgia the country, not Georgia the state in the United States. That's my guess. They discovered these clay pots discovered the clay pots on November 13th in the year 2017, but they state that they are from the year 6000 BC. Famous weddings: 1160, that's the year, 1160. The marriage of Louis VII of France and Adele of Champagne, 1929. Writer E.B. White, 30, weds literary editor Catherine Angel, 37. 1934, actress and dancer Ginger Rogers, 23, weds All Quiet on the Western Front actor Lou Ayres, 25. 1960, U.S. entertainer Sammy Davis Jr. marries Swedish actress May Britt. They got divorced December of 1968. 1987, MLB, Major League Baseball player Cal Ripken Jr., 27, weds Kelly Gear, Geer, at Towson United Methodist Church in Maryland. And 1922, architect Frank Lloyd Wright, 55, divorces socialite Catherine Tobin after 33 years of marriage. Aw, I guess they decided it was done. Master number 33. And lastly, 2011 or 1111, Tori Hart divorces actor and comedian Kevin Hart, 32, due to irreconcilable differences after 8 years of marriage. Famous deaths: George Grenville, Camille Pissarro, and Elsa Schiaparelli. Elsa Schiaparelli was Italian and a fashion designer. She is famous, along with Coco Chanel, for who was her greatest rival. Wait, I hate the way they write on this page sometimes. No commas, no nothing. Along with Coco Chanel, her greatest rival, Schiaparelli is regarded as one of the most prominent figures in fashion between the two world wars, so between World War I and World War II. Schiaparelli founded her Maison Schiaparelli in 1927 in Paris, starting with knitwear, and it operated until 1954. Schiaparelli was renowned for her collaborations with famous artists such as Salvador Dali and Jean Cocteau, and for her innovative use of new textiles. The Schiaparelli Fashion House was revived in the year 2013 and showed its first collection for 60 years in January of 2014. She was born on September 10th in 1890, which is 99, in Rome, Italy, and was a Virgo. She died on November 13th in 1973 at the age of 83. Camille Pissarro was both Danish and French. He was an influential impressionist and post-impressionist French painter, born to French Jewish parents on St. Thomas in the West Indies. Thomas means twin. Pissarro moved to Caracas and then Paris, where he studied under such masters as Jean-Baptiste Camille Corot and Gustave Courbet. From the 1860s, Pissarro's works were accepted at the Paris Salon. In 1863 or 99, he exhibited at the famous Salon des Refuses. As a result of the Franco-Prussian War, Pissarro fled to London, where he lived from 1870 through 1871. And when he returned, he found much of his earlier works destroyed. Back in France, Pissarro became a mentor to younger artists such as Paul Cézanne and Paul Gauguin. In 1874, 9/11 or 11, he was also part of the first Impressionist exhibition in Paris. He was born on July 10th in 1830 in Charlotte Amalie, St. Thomas, Danish West Indies, which is now the U.S. Virgin Islands, and he was a Cancer. He died on November 13th in 1903, which is also 13, at the age of 73. St. Thomas is one of my favorite places. I love St. Thomas. I got engaged in St. Thomas. George Grenville was British and a prime minister born into a political family. His father was MP, and Grenville entered Parliament himself in 1741 as MP for Buckingham, a seat he held until his death in 1770. As a Whig, Grenville became a supporter of William Pitt the Elder and entered the Privy Council. Grenville earned the support of the king, becoming leader of the House of Commons in 1861, and the king asked him to form a government in 1763. Grenville's time in power was marked by conflict with how to deal with the political radical John Wilkes and with the legality of general warrants. Grenville also stirred unforeseen consequences when, in an effort to pay for the 7 Years' War, he introduced taxes on the American colonies, taxes that led to organized American protests and ultimately the American Revolution. Grenville's youngest son, William Wyndham Grenville, also became prime minister in the year 1806. He was born on October 14th in the year 1712 in Watton Underwood, Buckinghamshire, England, United Kingdom, and was a Libra. He died on November 13th in 1770 at the age of 58. And going up to the birthdays, Whoopi Goldberg is 62 years old. She's American and an actress, a Grammy Award-winning comedian, and an actress and a daytime talk show host of The View. She was born on November 13th in 1955, is 62 years old, from New York City, New York, USA, and is a goat/sheep on the Chinese zodiac, or a Scorpio. I wouldn't have guessed her for a Scorpio. I never thought about it. That would be kind of weird, sitting around wondering what sign is Whoopi Goldberg. But I wouldn't have guessed Scorpio if somebody had asked me. I guess unless I tried to use my psychic stuff. I mean, as a regular person, I would never have guessed it. Anyway, Buck O'Neil. What about him? He was a baseball player and a coach. The first African-American coach in the history of Major League Baseball. During that time, that American baseball was segregated. O'Neil worked for many years in the Negro American League with Kansas City Monarchs, helping to renew interest in his era of baseball. O'Neil had a major hand in establishing the Negro League Baseball Museum in Kansas City. He was born on November 13th in 1911 in Carabel, Florida, USA, and was a Scorpio. He died on October 6th in the year 2006 at the age of 94 of a heart attack. So he lived a long life. Robert Louis Stevenson was Scottish and a novelist. He is most well known for his novels like Treasure Island, Kidnapped, and Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. However, he was also a poet, travel writer, and a playwright. He was born on November 13th in 1850 in Edinburgh, Scotland, and was a Scorpio. He died on December 3rd in 1894, which is 11/11, at the age of 44, of cerebral hemorrhage. And December 3rd is 3/3. So it was like 3/3, 11/11 at the age of 44. Kind of cool. Edwin Booth was American and an actor, best remembered as one of the greatest performers of Shakespeare's Hamlet, and as brother to John Wilkes Booth, the guy who shot President Abraham Lincoln to death. Booth was a renowned tragedian. So he was an actor in tragedies of the 19th century American stage. He was born on November 13th in 1833 in Bel Air, Maryland, USA, and was a Scorpio. He died on June 7th, that's Prince's birthday, in the year 1893 at the age of 59 of a stroke. John Dickinson was American and founding father of the United States. I thought his name sounded familiar, but I wasn't really sure from where. He was known as the Pen Man of the Revolution for his 12 letters from a farmer in Pennsylvania. He was also a militia officer during the American Revolution, president of Delaware, and president of Pennsylvania. He was born on November 13th in 1732 in Talbot County, Maryland, USA, and was a Scorpio. He died on February 14th, Valentine's Day, in the year 1808 at the age of 75. And lastly, Edward III was English and King of England from February 1st in the year 1327, which is 11/11, that year is. And he was king until his death from then. Noted for his military success and for restoring royal authority after the disastrous reign of his father, Edward II. He transformed the Kingdom of England into one of the most formidable military powers in Europe. His reign also saw vital developments in legislation and government, in particular, the evolution of the English Parliament. He is one of only 6 British monarchs to have ruled England or its successor kingdoms for more than 50 years. He was born on November 13th in the year 1312. One more year he should have waited to be born, and he would have been born in November 13th, 1313. Anyway, he wasn't. He was born in Windsor, Berkshire, England, and was a Scorpio. He died on June 21st, which is the summer solstice and the last day of Gemini, in the year 1377, and was 64 years old at the time. The cause of death was stroke. And he was the last. Going to the dice, we begin with Yes, which turned up in the weeklies. Also, Romantic Dinner. And Cocktail. Whispers still says cocktail. Maybe we're still celebrating whatever that thing was from the day before. Still says yes, too. And stay in bed. Maybe you're having like mimosas or Bloody Mary or something from the bed. The cards will begin with the Nine of Autumn. Your success has brought you financial security and the reward of a much-deserved time off to enjoy your own company. You may suddenly have a brilliant idea for a business or self-employment opportunity that will be very successful. So if you do have one of those ideas, go for it. All right, so I've opened to 2 cards here. The first is Awakening, or the Hangman, with 12 equals 3. Look at things from a different look at things in a different way, and all will make sense. Don't worry if your progress is halted, because that's only going to be temporary. Things will soon start moving again. This represents the planet Neptune in the sign of Pisces, which it rules for me, where Neptune is currently retrograde, actually. But also opening to the Queen of Spring, talented, brilliant, independent, and charming. Don't underestimate your ability to manifest your dreams. You may have several opportunities vying for your attention at once, but you can do it. The Queen of Spring is a Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries, or perhaps Mars, which is currently located in Pisces, or which enters Pisces this week. Which again, the card that I just was made to look at prior represents Pisces. This could be Mars in Pisces, okay? The moon also in Pisces this week. It begins in Capricorn the first 2 days, and then it goes into Pisces for 3 days. Aquarius for 3 days, and then Pisces. It closes out the week. Chiron's there too. Chiron is in Pisces also. Anywho, back to the Nine of Autumn. And the Eight of Spring. You've been presented with many wonderful opportunities at once. While this may feel stressful, remember to be grateful for the blessings that heaven sends you. Nine of Autumn. And lastly, Major Arcana card 11, or Strength, which represents the sign of Leo. True strength is displayed through kindness, forgiveness, and compassion. You have tremendous personal power and courage. So the universe is saying you can face whatever. Strength. And even those people and things that it might seem difficult to forgive, you can do that too. And coming to the Queen of Autumn, who is thoughtful, caring, creative, and ingenious. You'll be given advice that's both practical and creative, and it should be followed precisely. Focus only upon the positive in every situation or person. So you're being guided to remain upbeat and positive for your manifestation purposes. This Queen of Autumn, or Queen of Earth, can be some sort of facilitator of abundance that's on its way to you. It could be Venus herself, right? Ruler of the sign of Taurus. Could be Mercury, perhaps, but Mercury's not in charge of abundance. You know what I mean? So if it's Mercury, ruler of Virgo, in that case, it may be more so about a communication or something between you and a Queen of Autumn, a Virgo, Taurus, or Capricorn. So as I was shuffling, a bunch of cards, maybe like 3 or 4, jumped out of my hand, went like straight down, and I caught them in between my 2 feet. I pulled them out and only looked at the top one. It was the Princess of Summer, so the Page of Cups, basically. I didn't look through the other ones. I was just like, what the hell is going on lately? And I just stuck them back in. But our overall energy is the 7 of Spring. Be assertive, believe in yourself, and don't let anyone take away your personal power. Trust that your inner guidance is true and follow it completely. Crowning the masculine. It's the 6th of autumn, one of my favorites. Your success and prosperity have allowed you to pay off debts, acquire wise loans, or to receive a grant or scholarship. In return for heaven's blessings, be sure to share the wealth with others. This came up big time. Oh my goodness. In the general reading that we were supposed to be like donating and sharing and stuff in order to open up our own abundance. So be sure to do that. Make donations of time or money or reputable charities. This can also be exchanges of, love in other forms. It's unconditional love, though. So any kind of exchange where you're giving freely or receiving freely or both, that's what they're talking about here. Like without agenda or, bullshit attached to it. Surrounded by the Princess of Winter, who's logical, truthful, curious, and undiplomatic. A Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, or someone likened to those traits or attributes, or again, Mercury himself or Venus herself. This is an intellectual challenge that calls upon your ability to think of a matching solution. If information is put to you bluntly, accept the message without being bothered by the messenger. Very nice. In the masculine subconscious, the Ace of Spring, a wonderful new opportunity presents itself. It may have come as a surprise, but you'll still want to leap into action and passionately pursue every possibility. Crowning the feminine. Ooh, the 3 of Winter. Sadness is a part of life, but you don't have to endure it alone. You may need a little time to heal, but once you work your way through your emotions, you'll be stronger than before. The 3 of Winter may have something to do with some sort of party of 3, a third energy. Could be a breakup or something, because we did see some of those. Some sort of loss, pain, heartbreak. Let's see what else we got here. Could be a breakup again. But it might be like a breakup that you need, because those are the ones we saw. Right? Breakups for relationships that we had no business in, whether they were friendships or romantic or whatever they were. That's what we saw, separating from those people. But sitting here atop unity, that's what it could be. So maybe you're feeling a little sad because, because we have feelings, period. So even, when we end something that we know needs to end, whatever kind of relationship it is, even if it's a job, right, a work relationship, I got to leave here because this is not working, or I've been hired somewhere else, or whatever it is, you can still feel a way, as they say, like feel badly because you're not going to see people that you like anymore, or you have some sort of attachment, right, nostalgia, or just something. There's no monetary attachment or value, on it. It's just sentimental. So it could be that too, because unity, or the Hierophant, the high priest, which represents the sign of Taurus, can be that queen of earth that we saw before. Can be about with who, what, and where we surround ourselves, and the need to make adjustments to that, and like to get rid of things with which we no longer align, and only surround ourselves of, things of a vibration similar to our own, or better, higher, from which we can learn something. Also having to do with higher institutions, like government offices and things like that, signing important contracts, commitment, marriage, maybe even divorce. So something like that could be becoming finalized. We did have Justice as an overall energy the day prior. So some of us maybe finally ending some sort of contract or commitment with somebody, including a marriage. And so, it has mixed feelings attached to that. Sad, but, it needed to end. The Hierophant also about maybe coming into contact with some sort of authority. Again, important papers, something that have to be signed. Maybe in connection to some sort of loss. We did have the 7 of Winter the day before. That can be about theft or loss. So maybe you got to fill out like a police report or something like that, some sort of estate, something I'm getting to can be attached. Feminine subconscious. However, this is more positive and bright, right? The Prince of Summer. Summer. What is wrong with me? The Prince of Spring. So maybe the Prince of Summer is going to pop up here, or something cups related is going to show up too. Or maybe this Prince of Spring is a Scorpio, because then he would be fire and water. In any case, I'm only saying that because things don't come out of my mouth for nothing. I don't always know why they're out, like this time, but it's never like for no reason. The Prince of Spring is passionate, charismatic, confident, and restless. An opportunity arises that needs your attention right away. Moving quickly is important, yet there's nothing that you can't handle if you follow your inner guidance. Crowning. The Five of Summer. This too, can be about loss. Focus upon the fact that God loves you and always has the highest of intentions for you. A positive outlook makes it easier to recover from life's little difficulties, so that you can move onward and upward. We also have 2 5s crossing one another. 5s can be similar to the 7s that popped up the day prior, a challenging energy, to say the least. I'm not really a fan of 5s. Do I like any of the 5s? Not really, no. No suit, no element. Am I really a fan of the 5? At the root. Yep. Here's that 7 again. So yeah, this can be about theft. Loss of something that is meaningful to you, but it can be something that's non-material also, like a relationship or something. Again, like I said, caution will help you to avoid the loss of valuables. So this is sort of like within our control, it seems, whether or not we lose this thing. Caution will help you to not lose it, is what this is saying, to avoid the loss, including non-material resources such as time or peace of mind. Be aware of the results of your actions, as well as what others might be doing behind your back. So there's some other people that might be around you who are not really your friends. You got to change with whom, what, where you surround yourself in some cases. At the heart of the matter, the 9 of Summer, however. So maybe some of us wish to get our stuff back. Maybe some of us ask Archangel Chamuel to return it to us. I do that all the time. If I lose something or misplace something or whatever, I ask Chamuel for it, because not only is he the Archangel of unconditional love, and he's just, awesome, but he is also the Archangel of lost things, lost items. So with this being a yes, and wishes granted, and prayers answered, and dreams coming true, if we are suffering a loss, some of us also may be asking for our stuff back and finding it at the end of the day. Now's the time when your dreams come true. Don't worry about how this will happen. Just give gratitude to God for all that you have and all that's still to come. There can also be some problems with communication. Again, this is Mercury already starting to creep in with the Princess of Winter, the 7 of Winter, the 3 of Winter. Just be mindful. That it's not the 16th yet, equals 7, but Mercury is already lurking and can cause you some issues. Let's look at the 3 of Winter a little bit further for the feminine. What else might this be connected? Some sort of partnership, relationship. Again, having a falling out with a friend, words with a friend or loved one, even a mate. Could be. Or again, this can still be divorce or something with the Hierophant and this 3 of Winter and now the 2 of Cups. You're falling in love or experiencing a deepening of emotion in your current relationship. Marriages or romantic partnerships in distress can still be saved. Don't give up. So that's another positive thing to this. This can be where there was hurt, a relationship is being mended as well. Even a marriage that had, or was dissolving can be saved, especially if that's been your wish, your prayer. If you keep your energy up, don't sink into this doubtful, pessimistic energy. Remember instead that God loves you and has the highest of intentions for you. So even if you do lose something as part of this process, you just think positively of what is coming in, right? A positive outlook makes it easier to recover from any difficulties that you may experience, even if it's just an argument, you know. Positive outlook that everything's going to be fine, everything's going to work out, we're going to heal this, will go a long way. Let's look again at this 7. It's here sitting in the middle of an opportunity, right? We have the Ace of Spring and the Prince of Spring, both of which are about an opportunity. And then we have the 7 of Winter sitting in the middle, wants to cause us to miss the opportunity. It's in cahoots with the Page of Winter, right? Page of Swords, which is that kind of Mercurian energy that causes delays and difficulties. To what else might this? Some of it is a decision. You got to decide what you're doing here. You've got to get more confident about your decision too, and like stick to it when you make one. You may be under stress because of multiple, right, jobs or opportunities in this case. Responsibilities for one person to manage. It's important to balance your work and your personal life and to bring a spirit of fun to all that you do. So you got to lighten up your mood too, whether you're the feminine or the masculine here in this situation. And one more for that area, and it's the Queen of Autumn. So something having to do with an earth sign, or with some that advice that you get from an earth sign, or with again, a job or money coming your way. Like, which job am I going to accept? Do I want to take more hours or not? Am I, you know, all that kind of thing. You will be given advice that's both practical and creative, and it should be followed precisely. Focus only upon the positive in every situation, okay? Not the negative. That's what this is saying too. And you do that and you will be fine. Further advice to the masculine in this regard, the Hangman is back. Look at things in a different way, right? So look at it in the positive way instead of the negative, funky way you've been looking at it, basically. And all will make sense. Don't worry if your progress is halted temporarily in the meantime for you to do this, because things will start moving again soon. And when they do, you want to be ready with that answer or decision, you know, ready to go. And feminine